into this "What's John write down?" And this is where it gets a little bit tricky as we cap off this second fret, or this second phrase. Now, in this part where he goes, "Who's that a write down?" he's doing a very quick pull off, and I've transcribed that into the tablature. But before he gets into this pull off, he's still playing much of what we've been going over with here. So "Who's that writing?" in that portion will be like this: "Who's that There's gonna be 3 notes to start off that before we lead into that pull off. So it will be, so you will locate the 3rd fret, 3rd string. That will be the first note, and then the next note will be the 1st fret, 3rd string, and then open. Who's that? Who's that? Very easy. Those are the first 3 before he gets into this pull off, which will sound like this. Who's that right now? And we'll go over that here shortly. So he's going to be playing basically 5 notes in all to construct this pull off. And it's going to be done really, really fast. So you have to be careful. And it's going to be under the scope of that writing in the lyrics. That a writing. And what you're going to do to construct that pull off is you're going to locate the 1st fret, 3rd string, and then as you hold that, you're going to take your ring finger and you're going to locate the 3rd fret, 3rd string, and you're going to play this very quick pull off. It's going to be a combination of 4 notes on the 3rd string, and really you're only going to be playing the just 2 notes here, and it's going to be a pull off. So, and it's going to be really difficult to prescribe here, but this is how I'll go. I'll go really slow, but he's going to play the he's going to strike the 3rd string on the 1st fret. So when he strikes the 3rd string on the 1st fret, the ring finger is going to locate the 3rd fret, 3rd string, and you're going to pull off on there. You're going to strike that 1st fret, 3rd string, and you're going to do a pull off on the 3rd fret, 3rd string. And then when you pull off the your index finger is still going to be always positioned on the 1st fret, 3rd string. It's always going to be there. It's never going to come off of it. So keep it stationed there and pressed. You're fingering that 1st fret, 3rd string, and the ring finger is going to pull off. So yeah, so we're gonna be like this. The first 4 notes are always gonna be on the 3rd string, and your index finger is gonna be positioned on the 1st fret, 3rd string, and the first 3 notes are gonna be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then open on the 3rd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. cap it off, the fifth note's going to be open on the fourth string. But try to do that real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right in. And I hope that it's pretty straightforward and simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So practice along with that. And when you combine it all together, so there's 8 notes in that phrase. So, and it'll go all together like this. Who's that a-riding? Who's that a-riding? When you put it all together. So we'll go even slower. We'll count out all of that entire phrase. So, who's that a-riding? So that's a little bit tricky. That's probably the most difficult part of this song. So from the beginning, in this second phrase where he goes, John the Revelator, who's that a-riding? And that's that second phrase, so we'll go slow. So, John the Revelator, who's that a-riding? And it's laid out for you in the tablature. So I wanted to put that pull off and lick in scope. It was very difficult, but I think it's pretty straightforward once you get a hang of it. So now we'll move on to this third phrase in the song, which will be like this. So after he plays, who's that a-riding? John the Revelator. Okay. And when he says this part, John the Revelator, it's again very easy. So you're looking at 7 notes in all. So you'll locate the 3rd fret, 3rd string. That's going to be your first note. Then you're going to play open. Then the 1st fret. And then you're going to play a series of open strings on the 3rd and 4th string. So finishing off on the 4th string. John the Revelator. So you cap it off on the open string on the 4th string. Again, it's about matching those voicings with the guitar strings. John the Revelator. And then you finish off with a full downstroke there. So there were 7 notes in all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It was pretty easy. So starting from that second phrase, it'll be like, John the Revelator, what's John a-riding? John the Revelator. So let's start from the introduction and put that all together, because I know it's a little bit much off the bat because we're going very slow here, so we want to put that all together and see how that sounds. So here we go. It'll be like this from the beginning, the introduction. Well, what's John writing? John the Revelator. What's John writing? John the Revelator. And I'll go real slow here. Well, what's John writing? John the Revelator. What's John writing? John the Revelator. And you know, you'll get familiar and comfortable with that as you proceed. Okay, and when he plays, so now let's focus where we last left off. It was on the third phrase. So it was after this part. Riding John the Revelator. So after he plays John the Revelator, he says again, who's that riding? And it will be like this. Who's that riding? Again, you revisit what you played in the first phrase, which is fairly simple. So 1, 2, open, 4, 5, 6. So that third phrase will be, from the beginning, will be John the Revelator. Who's that writing? So fairly simple. Again, he's playing exactly what he was playing in the first phrase. So again, one last time to recap this third fret as we get into this break part. So the third phrase will be John the Revelator. Who's that writing? And that will be third fret, who's, and then the first fret, that, open, first fret, right, third fret, open. And then as we get into the fourth fret, fourth phase, he will say again, John the Revelator. And that's going to be a component of 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's playing exactly what you played in the second phrase. Very easy. John the Revelator. He'll play after that 2 downstrokes. Okay. So going back to that third phase will be John the Revelator. Who's that writing? John the Revelator. And when he plays this John the Revelator, oh, book of the 7 seals. That's what we're gonna look into here shortly, and this is a little bit tricky as we get into that. So when he goes into this, we're starting the fourth phase here, this fourth phrase. He'll be going John the Revelator, oh, and he's gonna play 2 downstrokes open, fairly simply. And when he plays those 2 downstrokes, you're gonna be saying, oh, the book of the 7 seals. And John the Revelator will be like this. This phase will go like this. John the Revelator, oh, 2 downstrokes, oh, the book of the 7 seals. And that's going to be a little bit difficult because you're gonna have to, with timing, kind of pause and wait for the voice to catch up to what's being played with the strings. So this fourth phase will be John the Revelator, John the Revelator, of the book of the seven seals. So we'll focus on this part. Oh, the book of the seven seals. So in that lyrics part where he goes, oh, you play two strokes open, and then you're going to locate the bottom string, open string, and you're going to say A, and then you're going to say book, or a book of the seven seals. So in this segment, when he says a book of the seven seals, which will be like this, there's going to be 8 notes in all. And you're going to start with the bottom string open, which will be a book of the seven seals. As you play out the rest of those 8 notes, you will find that I will sing the lyric to each note. So here's 8 notes. The first one is going to be an open on the bottom string, open string, and that's going to be A in the lyrics, a book of the seven seals. A. Then the second string, second note is going to be on the second string, 3rd fret. Book, a book, a book of, a book of. The 3rd string, the 3rd note in this sequence will be of, a book of. The 2nd string open will be that 3rd note. So a book of. Then you're going to find the 3rd string open. A book of the. Your 5th note here is going to be the 1st fret, 3rd string. Sev. And then you're going to do on the 6th note, open string on the 3rd string. Then you're going to play that note again and end on the 4th string open. Seals. So it'll be a book of the seven seals. A book of the seven seals. A book of the seven seals. Pretty intense, but this is why it's so crucial, because these individual notes on the 3rd string are, it's like a call and response to the vocals. So for that 4th phrase, it will be John the Revelator, a book of the seven seals. John the Revelator, a book of the seven seals. And then you would play the brush of downstrokes after that. So it's very difficult to get here in the timing. But John the Revelator, a book of the seven seals. A book of the seven seals. So a little bit intense there. We've covered pretty much the most difficult components of that melodic riff, and that's what he's going to play over and over again in the song. And before we lead into the break, the pre-verse, I just wanted to stress those components. again, the emphasis is all going to be on the 3rd and 4th strings, on the 1st and 3rd fret. And we looked at the nature of that tricky pull-off. That will be a challenging factor. And the ending there, the Book of the Seven Seals, is just now incorporating the bottom and 2nd string into the mix. But it's all about you is finding that cohesion, that unison between what's being played on the strings and your singing. So after you get that down, it gets relatively easy. You're just really narrowing down your attention into a small portion of the guitar. So this is fairly simple if you really think about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to recap here the whole introduction, and I'm going to play it here shortly and slowly here, and you can always rewind the tape and so forth. But here we go. We're going to play the introduction here, the song from the beginning to this portion where we last left off. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, what's John writing? John the Revelator. What's John writing? John the Revelator. What's John writing? John the Revelator. Oh, Book of the Seven Seals. What's John writing? John the Revelator. What's John writing? John the Revelator. What's John writing? John the Revelator. Oh, Book of the Seven Seals. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the break in between the main riff and then the pre-verse. So earlier we wrapped up the predominant riff and we went over that in great detail. So now we're going to talk about the transitionary part, and this is the part that follows after a Book of the Seven Seals, which will be like this. A Book of the Seven Seals. Father of our Lord, hand of our God. We're going to talk about this part where he goes. And this is the part that follows immediately after the Book of the Seven Seals lyric and verse. And what he's going to be doing here is just, it's very similar to what we discussed in the very early portion of this DVD in this lesson, is the very early introduction where he's playing those full chords, and then he's playing that one note here on the 1st fret 3rd string. He goes back to that before he transitions into the pre-verse. So he does that roughly about there's 4 revolutions of that, 4 progressions or cycles of that, and we'll go over that here shortly. So what we're going to talk about here is what follows after a Book of Seven Seals. So it'll be like this: a Book of the Seven Seals. And after that he starts this. Well, thousand cried, oh Lord, hand of our God. And he'll transition to that. But this part, it will be three open strokes and then this fingering on the 1st fret 3rd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he plays that about 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. that 4 times. So think about it as 4 concepts. 1, 2, 3, 1. Plays that 4 times. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is a very very liberal way of playing that portion. There's no emphasis on playing individual notes. It's just strumming the chords fairly easily. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that because that's fairly straightforward. But before he proceeds into the pre-verse, and the pre-verse is going to be very homogeneous, repeating the same cycles over and over again. And this is what I'm about to teach here. It's this portion where he goes, thousands cried, Holy Lord, bound before some son of our God, daughter of Zion, Judith the light, he redeemed his sin, he bought us with the blood. Now tell me who's that writing? We're going to go over that part here. So going back into this break, this intermission break, which was at about the 4th time that you do that, and I'll go into that, so it'll be like this: 2, 3, 4. Somewhere along that he'll start the pre-verse by singing out, well, oh my, thousand cried, Holy Lord, bound for some son of our God. That's the tricky part in that transition. Somewhere along the lines towards the end there. Well, thousands cried, Holy Lord, bound for some son of our God. And you will listen along with the LP and try to match that. Try to match that and follow along as you practice on your own. You will pinpoint and find that out. So when he gets into the lyrics of the pre-verse, this is where we're going to start at. If you follow with your tablature, there's going to be a succession of 7 notes in this first part. Now if you locate the tablature, when he's going to start singing thousands cried holy, for example, it'll be like this: well, oh me, my thousands cried holy, love, hand of our God. He's gonna start that phrase in the lyrics. He says, well, oh, why me? And this is gonna go like this: a series of 7 notes. You're going to locate the 3rd and 4th strings on the 1st fret, and you're going to position your index finger to pluck whichever note you will be playing, the 3rd string for example, and the thumb will always be resting on the 5th string and playing it open. Or you can play with the right hand just up and down strums. Or you can play it with, okay, and in that portion I just wanted to express the right hand technique in that. But in this pre-verse, this is what we're going to focus on, the pre-verse. We're going to be looking at this first part of this riff is a series of 7 notes. So the first note is going to be on the 1st fret, 3rd string. And you're going to play the 3rd and 4th strings. So this is the first note. The second note is going to be open string on the 3rd string. The 3rd and 4th note is going to be back on the 1st fret, 3rd string.